This is from Baruch chapter 4. O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to God are made known to us. In other words, we have been given the opportunity to find out what makes life worth living. You see, sometimes you have to stop thinking about God in sort of the religious patterns that we fall into. Oh, the revelations of God. What that means is God is showing us what's important, how to live. God is showing us the most important things. He is the most important person, and he is showing us everything that he's made, including the moral law, so that we could say with Baruch, if we thought about it, O Israel, O Christians, O humanity, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to God are made known to us. But the revelations of God can be a little confusing. Here we have Solomon, who has just completed the temple. Then Solomon said, my father David wanted to build this temple to honor the name of the Lord, the God of Israel. But the Lord told him, you wanted to build the temple to honor my name. Your intention is good, but you are not the one to do it. One of your own sons will build the temple to honor me. And now the Lord has fulfilled the promise he made, for I have become king in my father's place. And now I sit on the throne of Israel, just as the Lord promised. I have built this temple to honor the name of the Lord, the God of Israel, and I have prepared a place there for the ark, which contains the covenant that the Lord made with our ancestors when he brought them out of Egypt. In past semesters, I've talked about the Ark of the Covenant, which contains the tablets of the Ten Commandments, some of the manna, Aaron's rod, which blossomed, and so forth, and which has vanished since then. We've talked about that in past classes. If you want to know more, you can research it. But Solomon here is patting himself on the back. He is repeating the story that I'm certain he heard from his father, David. David said, I want to build a house for the Lord. And if you remember, when God speaks to David in the dream, he says, what do I need a house for? Haven't I been with you and with my people as they wandered through the wilderness, living in a tent? You think I need a house to live in? I tell you what, David, God says to David, I'm going to build you a house, and your descendant will sit in the throne and rule that house forever. Solomon assumes that that means him. He is the most powerful king in the history of Israel. No one would be more powerful than Solomon to come after him. Solomon doesn't know that, but he does think that he is big man on campus. He's built the temple. He has fulfilled what his father didn't do because God told him God would not enable him to build the temple. God wanted a house to be built for David and for the people of God, which is, of course, the church. God's prophecy to David is about David's son, Jesus, who is to come. Solomon thinks the prophecy is fulfilled in him, but it's fulfilled in Christ, and it's fulfilled not once and for all. In a way it is, but I mean, it's in process for us as we live. We are part of the living stones that make up the church of God, part of his body, members of his body, part of the living temple, which is why it's so important that we get our acts together. So, yes, we can say with Baruch how happy we are that God has shown us what he delights in, but we tend to be like Solomon. We tend to think that we're the ones who are the point of all creation. But keep in mind that the prophecies of God are mysterious and are fulfilled at different levels in different times. The final thing I'm going to have you look at. Back when I was blogging, I was shocked at how many so-called devout Catholics supported things like torture and lying and would really get angry at me when I would quote the catechism to them. This is one of the things that one of the really disturbed people on the internet used to bring to my attention. Jesus says to his brothers, and we're not going to talk about his brothers today. We can talk about that in class if you want. They're trying to convince him to come to the Feast of the Tabernacles. And he says, you go to the festival. I am not going up to this festival because my time has not yet fully come. Jesus is aware that he has an hour that he is living for. He has a time in which he will fulfill his Father's mission, which is, of course, his passion, death, and eventual resurrection. That's the climax of the life of Christ. And his full revelation is still coming in our day, in a sense. There's ways of talking about this. But the point is, he says to them, I'm not going to go to the festival. You go. I'm not going to go. Because they keep saying, hey, you're a big shot. You're like Solomon, big man on campus. If you want to be known by people, come to the Feast of the Tabernacles. Everybody will know you. You'll be a celebrity. Come on, Jesus. We know you. You really think you're hot stuff? Come on. I mean, clearly, we're told his brothers don't believe in him. And they're kind of goading him. And he says, it is not my time. But then he goes to the festival. Now, the people who used to argue with me on my blog used to say, Jesus lied. Lying must be good. So we can lie. Which is blasphemous, really. Jesus is not lying here. What's he doing? That's my question for you. What's he doing? Here's a hint. You can look up this passage on Bible Hub, this particular verse. I believe it's John 7:8, and you can see what the commentators say. You can think about it yourself. You can pray about it. But the simple question is Jesus lying? You go to the festival. I'm not going to go. And then he goes anyway. Did he change his mind? What's going on here? That's the question. And really, part B to that question is, what does it reveal more deeply about Christ and his mission? That's a deeper and more interesting way of asking it. And please, what I've noticed in my career as a teacher with Homeschool Connections is so many students just want to tell me what they think I want to hear. Please don't do that. Delve into this on your own and try to figure out what's going on here. I'm not looking for a parroted answer. I'm looking for something where you might actually discover what's pleasing to God, the truth that he hides but then reveals to us. That's why we're in this class. So do that. That's your assignment for today.